Hey, 49er fans, I'm Thomas Mott. They did it. I know you guys saw it. They did it last night. Champions of college basketball, the Baylor Bears. Before we start today's video, had to get that little bit of a plug in there. I'll move over to another plug, though. If you guys are subscribed to the 49ers Report, you guys asked for another mock draft. Since the trade up to 3, here it comes. Before we go ahead and do that, we are just a couple of subscribers away from 34,000. So go ahead and go down below and hit the big red subscribe button. Today's video is brought to you guys by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/49ers to save 20% off your first order plus free shipping. The link will be down below in the description box. All right, 49er fans, let's jump into my latest mock draft here as we dive into every single round, all 7 of them, with every single pick the Niners have since the trade up for number 12 to number 3. I haven't done a mock draft since that trade up, although I think a lot of you guys know where I'm going to go, at least with the first pick, and then we'll see what happens with some of the later overall picks. We'll start, of course, with the draft profile. The Thursday, April 29th draft begins in just a couple of weeks now. We're at April 6th, the Tuesday. It is getting closer and closer to the start of the draft, and the question that was once, what do you do at number 12, now becomes, what do you do at number 3 overall, and more importantly, what quarterback do you take at number 3 overall? But after that, you still need a cornerback, in my opinion. Maybe a defensive end, possibly a wide receiver, maybe somebody at offensive line, safety. Those are all still needs, some of which, like corner, were addressed during the offseason, but they could still be an interesting need, to say the least, going into this year's NFL draft. In terms of the draft picks, it's very simple. We'll break them all down. First round, you have number 3 overall. You have 1 second-round draft pick. You still have that 1 third-round draft pick via the Rooney Rule because of Robert Saleh going to the Jets. 1 fourth, 3 fifths, and then the 2 7th-round draft picks, 1 via the Jets, and then, of course, 270 overall being the last pick the Niners currently have. Now, will they end up taking players at each one of those positions? They might trade up, they might trade down, who really knows? But that is, of course, the overall draft profile right now of the 49ers before we head into what is the first pick and what will be the pick that everyone has their eyes on, because we have no idea what they're going to do at number 3. Let me ask you guys this. Should they go quarterback at 3? And if they should, which quarterback should they take at number 3 overall? I have my opinions, and I'll tell you who I took right here. But I want to see what you guys think in terms of probably Fields, Jones, or Trey Lance. Which quarterback would you guys rather have? Let me know down below. All right, so just because people are going to want to know who are the first 2 quarterbacks taken before the Niners were up to bat at my mock draft at number 3, it's the 2 that will be taken. I mean, the draft really starts at number 3 this year because we know Lawrence goes 1, and after the Sam Darnold trade, we know Zach Wilson's going to go ahead and go 2. That's write that in stone. That's basically guaranteed. So the draft starts at number 3, which leaves us with my first pick in this mock draft, and that is the quarterback they should take. It's not Mac Jones. It's not Trey Lance. It's Justin Fields. I know most draft experts think that it'll be Mac Jones. I mean, literally, like, everybody thinks it's going to go ahead and be Mac Jones, and maybe it is. And if it is, then we got to trust Kyle Shanahan that he understands better than you and I in terms of which quarterback works better in his system. But from my eyes and my expertise, if you want to call it that, Justin Fields is by far the best quarterback out of the Lance, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields discussion. I just don't see how they can pass on a guy who not only played in big games around big-time NFL talent, but has a great pocket presence, as well as a mobility that Kyle Shanahan hasn't really had with past quarterbacks, whether it's Garoppolo or Matt Ryan, or even go back to his time in Washington with Kirk Cousins. It just makes way too much sense to take Justin Fields, and I hope that they don't overthink this and just have to get him a pocket passer in Mac Jones. I don't see how this is Trey Lance, by the way. I mean, I guess I could see Mac Jones more than Trey Lance, but I still do not see either of those 2 players. Please go ahead and give me Justin Fields. Okay, a couple of notable picks here where other people went inside the top 10 and really inside the first round, because I know you guys are going to be interested. Lance went 4 to the Falcons. The Panthers, now with their quarterback, got Kyle Pitts at 8. I honestly really like that. Honestly, if I was a Panther fan, I love Kyle Pitts at 8. Washington traded up to number 10 with the Dallas Cowboys and took Mac Jones, which I think is very interesting overall. Patrick Surtain was the first cornerback taken to New England. There was a run on corners at like 15, 16, and 17. The Cardinals got J.C. Horn. And Najee Harris, who reportedly this week thought the Niners were going to take him at number 12, which is kind of crazy, but now, of course, they moved up, so no longer going to happen. He was taken number 24 overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers in this mock draft. Okay, so your second-round draft pick, where did the 49ers go at number 43 overall? Asante Samuel Jr. was on the board, the FSU cornerback, the son of former cornerback Asante Samuel, who was a great Patriot and a great Eagle back in the day. And when I saw him on the board, I jumped all over it. I mean, he is a fantastic corner, incredible ball skills, and some actually consider him to be potentially the best cornerback in the draft. And I know I like Surtain and Horn and obviously Caleb Farley better, but this is one of those sleeper second-round draft picks that might turn out to be one of the better cornerbacks in this draft. It's interesting because you sit back and you go, do you need a cornerback after signing Verrett and re-signing K'Waun Williams and the rest of the cornerbacks that they did? If there's a corner as talented as Asante Samuel still on the board in the second round at 43, which I don't think he will be, I would 100% take him and let him openly compete with the other cornerbacks on the roster. I know that they gave Mosley and they gave obviously Verrett some contracts, but they're not long-term contracts, 2 years and then 1 year. So whether we think that they're the future or not, getting somebody who's young and has a really bright future on a rookie deal would not be the worst thing. I'd be all for bringing Asante Samuel Jr. to the 49ers. That's why he's my second round draft pick at number 43 overall. Let me ask you guys this. The 49ers need another cornerback? I mean, there's an argument that they don't, but I think that you'll go for value right here, and he was the best value available on the board at the time. And so if that's the case, then yes, I think they do. They don't need to force anything, but if one of the good ones falls to them in the second round, I'm all for typing wide and below and saying yes. Okay, third round draft pick. I got a little weird here, and I haven't taken a running back this high in any of my mock drafts, but I saw Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, who I consider to be the number 3 running back in this draft. He's just sitting there at 102, which is probably where he's going to be taken. And I said, okay, if they were actually interested in Najee Harris at 12, like we talked about, and that's the report this week, then maybe they do want a running back, and so let's go ahead and grab a guy like Gainwell. Again, the third best running back in this draft. He has an incredible ability to be a dual-threat guy who runs the ball well and bursts through holes, but also catches the ball well, which is very important in the Kyle Shanahan offense. He did opt out of the 2020 season, which is why he's going to fall a little bit. He's from Memphis, so he's not getting the notoriety of a Travis Etienne or a Najee Harris, but he would be, to me, a great addition to the 49ers running back depth chart. Now, that does not mean that they need a running back. I've made the argument that you don't really need one because I feel good about Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert. But again, both of those guys aren't signed long-term. So if you're thinking long-term, you want somebody for 2024 and 2025, then I guess this makes sense. Again, do they need a running back? No. It's just like, do they need a cornerback? No. But you start looking at the needs of this team, and you can make the argument safety is probably a little bit more important, maybe pass rusher, but there's some good players here in the second and third round. If they pop and turn out to be really good superstars, then you might as well take them where they are available. And so I feel pretty good about taking Gainwell and Asante Samuel Jr. in rounds 2 and round 3. I'll follow up with this question here. Do the 49ers need another running back? Like, would you be okay with getting one more, or do you think they're fine with the 3 that they currently have of Mostert, Wilson, and JaMycal Hasty? Type Y down below for yes if they do need one. Type 2 down below for no if they do not. All right, 49er fans, again, this video is brought to you guys by Manscaped. Manscaped.com/49ers for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Go ahead and pick up the Perfect Package is one of my favorite things that Manscaped offers because it gives you all of their best hit products, in my opinion. Lawnmower 3.0 with the 8-hour battery and the light and the ability to use it overall in the shower. You go ahead and get the boxers and the travel bag as well as the toner and the deodorant. All of that would be 20% off plus free shipping when you use our link down below, manscaped.com/49ers. Now, before we go ahead and get into the fourth round, where I'm going to go wide receiver, and you'll see who it is here in just one second. Make sure you guys, again, are subscribed as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. More and more draft news and rumors will come out, and we'll break it down here on the channel. So subscribing down below is your one-stop shop for everything regarding San Francisco. All right, fourth round here for our 49ers. Again, do you need a wide receiver? I mean, arguably no, but there's also the report that they're going to draft a wide receiver, so I decided to draft a wide receiver, and Dyami Brown was there. I've taken him in previous mock drafts. I think he's absolutely fantastic. A legit vertical threat while at UNC, and he could kind of be the answer as the number 3 wide receiver in this offense, especially if Jalen Hurd turns out to not be healthy or really any good, because we just don't know because he's been injured the past couple of years. Many people, including big-time 49er beat writers, expect the Niners and have reported that San Francisco wants to go ahead and draft a wide receiver at some point, and so the fourth round to me is some good value here to go ahead and add to this team. And whether you have a young rookie quarterback, whether it's Justin Fields or somebody else, having a lot of weapons around him, it can never be a bad thing. And so adding Gainwell and Brown, I think, would be a really dynamic third round and fourth round punch and a lot of value for San Francisco. Again, the question, Jalen Hurd, is he healthy? Is he not? If he is, you don't need a wide receiver, but there's no way to know until you get to training camp, so you might as well take one at some point with the plethora of picks the 49ers have. Moving into the fifth round, I took, again, Shaka Toney, the defensive end out of Penn State, who I took 2 mock drafts ago, right around the same spot, and he just keeps being there. And as you look at value and you say, I want to add another pass rusher later on in the draft, Toney being available, he's easily the best one. A great rotational pass rusher who can come in and learn from the Nick Bosas of the world, learn from the Eric Armsteads of the world, and be a depth guy on the outside. If you're looking for diamonds in the later rounds, you got to take at least a pickaxe to a guy like Shaka Toney, who can potentially be a really good defensive end in the right system. He played 8 games. He's a wide 9, quick defensive end on the outside at Penn State. He has 7.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks in 8 games, a projected defensive end, but that's what everyone's going to be as you get to the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. They're all going to be projects. You got to find the diamonds in the rough. I think Toney could potentially go ahead and be one for the 49ers, and the fact he keeps showing up in my mock drafts means I really, really like him. Let's move on here to pick 172, as again, we're looking for diamonds in the rough. We're looking for rotational guys who can add some depth to positions that you need depth at, and I got a tackle in my last mock draft, and so I went ahead and got another one here. Cole Van Lennon, the offensive tackle out of Wisconsin, adds depth for the tackle spot, which again, whether you believe Justin School is a good backup or not, they need a little bit of depth behind Trent Williams, who will be the starter for the next couple of years, but with injuries being a potential in his past, you got to have somebody who can learn first and then fill in where needed. The good thing about Cole is that he's a swing guy, so you can move him over to guard as well in case you have an injury closer to the center position. It would add great depth to a position that 100% overall needs it. I think they're going to add an offensive lineman at some point in this draft. Maybe they do it earlier, like Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama in the 2nd round. That's a real possibility if you want to add like a legit potential starter, but I don't think they need a starter. They just need a depth guy who can, take some time to grow, 1 year, 2 year, and then maybe come in a couple of games as the extra offensive tackle in a goal line situation or fill in for injuries. I think that the 49ers offensive line is good to go right now, but a little depth never hurt anyone. Name a prospect you guys think I should watch some more film on. I got a lot of good ones that you guys commented on my last mock draft. So you have a new prospect you want me to watch a little bit of film on, let me know who that is down below in the comments section, because there are a lot of prospects and you just can't prep for all of them, right? As soon as you get these later rounds, you're starting to figure out who is this guy, who is that guy. So I'm sure you guys have some names of your favorite players. Let me know who they are down below. Okay, again, getting in here to the later parts of this NFL draft, meaning it is time to really start hunting for depth and practice squad guys. How about you, Darius Robinson, the FSU defensive end? I know I already got a defensive end earlier on with Shaka Toney, but I was sitting there, and Robinson's available at 180, and you overall look at his draft grade and his draft profile, and this is another potentially really good pass rusher you can get in the later rounds because he has the build. I'm all for drafting guys on day 3 of the draft who have the mold of a good player at that position, but might not actually be a good player at that position, because you can hopefully build them into being a good player with the right coaching. And I think San Francisco 100% has the right coaching. So you get a tall, athletic defensive end who's extremely quick off the ball. He has a, quote, ideal NFL frame, but he's raw. And so you work on the raw talent, and you hope that he turns out to be great. And if he doesn't turn out to even be rotational at the defensive end spot, no harm, no foul, because he was taken at the 180th pick in the draft, and you're not expecting him to go ahead and be really good anyway. So Robinson can add some more defensive line depth, especially with the fact that Dee Ford will only be here for so much longer. And, Armstead wasn't fantastic last year. And so besides Bosa, you want to make sure you have some rotational guys in there, especially after losing what was a really good pass rusher in Kerry Hyder this free agency. Okay, we're really down to the nitty-gritty here. Final 2 picks. Let's go to the DBs here, because I think they do need to add a safety at some point, and I might have waited a little bit too long, but I still like the value that a guy like Jamar Johnson, the safety out of Indiana, goes ahead and provides. He's a safety that you probably didn't see because Indiana's trash at football, and where I'm watching Indiana football, but he's an underrated prospect with good ball skills, was a 2-year starter at Indiana, and can play both in the run and the pass, and I like my safeties to be able to do a combination of that. Is Tart going to be the starting safety? Most likely, but adding some depth behind him is not a bad thing, as we've talked about here. And I think the 49er roster as a whole does have holes, but most of the needs that they have are depth needs, and you hope that the depth guys turn into starters at some point during their career. So give me Jamar Johnson with the second to last of the 49ers picks here, getting into the later rounds. Final pick in the draft. I sit there in the 7th round, and some of these mock draft simulators have guys fall a little further than they shouldn't. I think Trey Norwood's a good example of that, the cornerback out of OU, I took him in my last mock draft because he was there in the later rounds, and so he's there again, and he had a strong bounce-back season. He tore his ACL in 2019, so that's going to make him fall just a little bit, but he's a great nickel cornerback who could fill in for K'Waun Williams if K'Waun Williams were to go ahead and get injured. He's also a ball hawk. He led the Sooners with 5 interceptions last year, and so I like the value, again, adding him later on. I could see him going a lot earlier than the number 7th, or excuse me, in the 7th round, but he was there in these draft simulators, which I encourage you guys to check out too. They're kind of fun to go and mess around with, and you'll see who's available and who's not, make a pick, and that's where I went with Tre Norwood. Let's wrap things up by going ahead and give you a review of my picks. Fields at number 3, of course. Asante Samuel Jr., not necessarily a huge need at corner, but if he's there, take him. Then 2 offensive players, Kenneth Gainwell, the running back, and Dyami Brown, the wide receiver out of UNC. Then I went Shaka Toney, Cole Van Lanen, Janarius Robinson, Jamar Johnson, and Tre Norwood to go ahead and round out this mock draft. What do you think? I mean, I think this is a pretty good example of what the Niners can go ahead and do with their new draft picks based on the trade up and the trade back and how it all worked out with San Francisco. Grade my mock draft. I like it. I don't think it's bad. I think it kind of all depends on if you want a wide receiver and a running back that early on. And if you do, then this is a good mock. If you don't, then it's probably a worse mock. But let me know what you guys think down below right now. A, B, C, D, or F for my 49ers mock draft 3.0. Ultimately, for today here in the 49ers Report. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed as we got plenty more videos coming up, as well as our Thursday live Q&A. I'll finish by saying again, how about those Baylor Bears? What a win last night. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys were watching and rooting for them just because I host the show here and you guys watch the show. So, I don't know. We'll see a fun Tuesday here on the 49ers Report. Ultimately, for today, for Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.